Hey everyone out there, Indie Adam here. I'm with Rosanna Pfeifer, and actress model extraordinaire, and we're gonna kind of talk to her today about all different things: modeling, acting, movies she's got coming out, all those fun things. And I kind of want to start off, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of got you into filmmaking? Like, where did you start? What was your first initial like? This is what I want to do.
Okay, that's a big question. So at a very young age, I kind of always knew that I was a creative and liked all this stuff. At age 5, like I was just like I would sing and dance for like anybody new that like came over to the house, or if I was at my cousin's house and their friends would come over. I just loved to like perform.
Yeah.
Um, and I loved movies, and I don't know, it was always like kind of there, when you have a passion for something, it always kind of lives inside you,
Yeah.
and there's something there, but sometimes you don't get the opportunity until later in life. Um so I guess I just kind of always knew, but didn't get the opportunity to pursue it until later in life.
I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Hmm.
I feel like I met you, I don't know, 6 years now
Yeah,
at the time of
about that.
filming
Yeah,
this?
that's about right. In like
And that's when you, yeah,
2019.
and that's when you kind of started, like, in the local Buffalo scene.
Yes, correct. So, it was actually funny. So I had left. It's kind of a long answer. I left my full time job as an NP at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I had just graduated and I got like a job at a neuro clinic, and had like high hopes, and got there and realized that, wow, this is not what I thought it was gonna be. Like I did this to help people, and I won't get too into the healthcare system and all that stuff, but it was just not sitting right with my soul, to
Yeah.
not to be dramatic, but I
Well,
was
this is the
like, this
place to
is
be dramatic.
this,
So, so please
okay.
be dramatic.
I was like, wow, like this is not for me, and I just kind of left. I wasn't there a long time. I mean, I gave it some time, and I was like, I getting up every day, I was like, this isn't right. So I left cold turkey, didn't have a backup plan, and I know it can be a taboo topic sometimes, but mental health is very important. I got kind of depressed because I felt like I lost my purpose, but then somehow I discovered acting because I had all this time and I didn't even realize that so much happened in Buffalo. And this was 2019 at the time. And as soon as I figured it out, I just kind of like hit the ground running. Like I signed with like a local agency right away. And I think my first gig was featured background on a Lifetime movie.
Well, that's not bad.
Sleeping
That's
with
not
my
bad.
student, I
Oh,
think it's called.
okay. All right.
And I just fell in love. Like it was so much fun, and I was so excited to learn that there were so many opportunities in Buffalo, even back, during
Yeah.
that time. And I just started doing as much as possible: industrials, commercials, film, like anything I could do.
Yeah, I've seen you on quite a bit. Quite a bit. And you've done a lot of commercials, like you said. Do you have a favorite commercial out of curiosity that you've done, or should we not mention the commercials?
um, do I have a favorite? There are a few. There's one that gets played a lot, and I think it's funny because I'm just not there at the end, and everyone's always like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "Oh, she died." I don't know. You make a backstory like for your
Okay.
characters. I'm like, because like I'm not there at the end, and like I'm like, "Oh, she's just gone." Um, I don't know if there was a favorite commercial. A
No.
lot of them are like fun in different ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd have to really think about that one,
Now
but
you have a new film coming out.
I do.
What is the name of that?
Yes. So one of the good ones.
All right.
It's a feature film. It's like a comedy drama, like a legal drama, but it's definitely a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And who do you play?
so my character is Susie Hines Lawrence. She's the assistant district attorney, which is fun. But she's like kind of like the femme fatale kind of role, like
Sure.
character, which was a lot of fun. I didn't think I was gonna. I didn't know I would have that much fun playing. Like, well, we don't know if she's a villain or not. Stay tuned. She
Stay
might
tuned.
be. She might be one of the bad ones. We don't know.
Not one of the good ones.
Uh, so I mean, it's a supporting like role, but a lot of the story, some of the story does focus on her and did she do it or not type situation. So
I'm
it's
looking
kind of
forward to
fun.
finding out.
Yeah, and by the time this comes out, it should be on Amazon Prime. So
Well, that's a good start.
watch
That's a good
it.
start. Yeah.
Yeah.
I recently spoke with Bill Murray the third, and I always
Yes,
have to make sure I
Bill.
I have to say the third because
It's very important.
it's very important that we
Mhm.
get the third in there.
Bill's good people.
Very
He's
great
one
people.
of the good ones. Yeah.
He is one of the good
Yeah.
ones. That's how this is gonna go for the rest of the interview.
I love it.
What like draws you to roles? Like, is there a certain thing that you gravitate towards? Something you look at and say, you know what, I can really relate to that character.
I feel like I tend to be drawn more to characters with a lot of depth.
Mm.
So whether that's, um, the script matters too and the story. But I like I'm pretty open. You know what I mean? Like I'm still kind of discovering like what my kind of niche is and what I kind of like to do.
Yeah.
But so far, like I've had a lot of fun playing the villain.
I could see you played a villain.
Yeah.
I could see you playing a villain for sure.
I've had fun playing. I like comedy. I know that's like for later maybe, but I want to do more comedic roles, I think.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, maybe a lot of people don't know, but I tend to be a weird, awkward, funny person. Like I have really
Whatever do you mean?
brash, dark humor that doesn't always like jive with everybody, but that's just my personality, and I want to like explore that more within different character roles in the future.
Yeah. You're also a singer.
Where is this coming from?
I mean, you got a little bit of talent everywhere. Obviously,
Wait,
we haven't gotten to the modeling part yet, but you act, you do modeling, and then you sang in a film once. It was
I
a 48,
sang in
right?
a film. Oh.
Or is there a different one? Am I not aware that of this?
Which 48 we talking?
Oh, I think you know.
Because there was a couple. I was in 2 musicals. I was.
Well, that
blessed.
should tell you even that much
I
more
was
out there.
lucky enough for our team to land musical twice. Well, no, it was 2 different teams, but there was one, the more recent one. Is that what you're saying?
I think the bathroom one.
The bathroom one.
That's the one that I'm always. I don't want to say it. I don't want to give it away. You could talk more on it.
That was so funny.
But that one is a
gosh.
really.
Did I actually sing in that? I think I did.
You
actually
did.
Sing
I'm
in
pretty
that
sure
one.
you did.
It's a funny story, and
Yeah?
Andy could probably attest to it.
Andy
but
Rich.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's good people too. So at the time, he was like kind of casting within like our group and having like mini auditions one of the nights to see who would be like one of the, because we had a couple like big numbers. And,
Yes, you did.
And I remember at the time I was kind of like going through something, and you know what that does sometimes. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Changes your mood.
yeah, it changes your mood, like your confidence and everything. And I was just kind of like, not feeling it. I was like, I'm not gonna. And then once he cast everything, and then whatever, like later on in the night, I think we all had to kind of like sing a little bit to see.
Mm-hmm.
He was mad. He was mad at me. He was like, Rosanna, why didn't you audition when I was having auditions? Like I didn't know you could actually sing. And I was like, next time. Sorry. Like I don't know.
Now, just so the people know, what is the name of that project?
People.
The people. The people. The people are going to want to know. Andy told me it's on YouTube.
Yes,
I did talk to him the other day about it.
It is.
So, I might try to see if I can't get a little bit
That
of
was it was an
singing in
interesting
there.
year. It was very fun. Yeah, but she's just a little part, yeah, singing, but
a little part, but it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
I do love to sing though. That's so funny that you brought that up, because I was like, where is he getting that from?
What else do you sing that I'm not aware of? Do you sing other things?
I love karaoke, but no.
She loves karaoke.
Well,
Make sure we put that on the app there.
Well, I did choir.
You did
or
choir?
chorus in college.
Choir or chorus?
I think
Is it the same thing?
I don't think it's no, it's two different
Yeah,
groups. I
isn't one
don't
a
ask me
religious
what the
thing?
difference is.
Yeah.
I think it was chorus,
Okay.
but anyway, because I'd played instruments like my whole life,
What kind of instruments?
growing violin, guitar, piano. Um,
So you have this in your DNA already.
I think so. I think it's in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're like a multi-threat. You got the singing, the
I mean,
acting, the modeling. I'm gonna even ask it. Dancing?
when I was younger, yes. But
Yeah.
there's only so many hours in the day and days in the week. Like we
Right.
can't like I wish there was more time to devote, if we didn't all have to work and like just put love my job. If we could just put forth all this time towards our passions, like I just feel like that would be so great. In 2019 when I started out, I was doing almost like equally like commercials, industrials and short films and then feature films but like mostly background and things like that. Like I worked on a lot of big productions as back cuz I just wanted to be on set always.
And get
Like
some you get some experience.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So it wasn't until more recently that, I mean, one of the good ones was like my first like speaking role in like a SAG feature. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've heard some things.
yeah, you've
Um,
heard some. What
well,
have you
I mean, I
heard?
know all the right people, that
Oh
do that
yeah,
film or did that film,
yeah.
and a lot of people. I mean, I just heard things, and I'm
Good
excited.
things.
Yes, good things, of course.
Okay.
Good things, of course. I'm excited to see the turnout that you guys have for
Oh
a
yeah,
movie.
I'm kind of nervous. I'm like, I don't know how many people are gonna be here,
I'm gonna be there.
but I mean, it's exciting. Um, for sure.
Question that I pose to you is why have we not worked together until this very interview?
I don't know. I was gonna ask you the same thing.
Well, now that we're on the record and we're both on the spot here,
Yeah, I
uh,
don't know.
you do have a lot of fans that follow your work. And I'm curious to know what you would say to those fans that may not know the real you.
What you see is what you get usually. I mean, if I've learned anything over, this last 6 years, it's like authenticity is like always the way to go. I mean, you have to just be yourself and it honestly just feels so much better that way. Like I'm to the point now where cuz social media is like this whole thing and
Yeah,
it's a necessary evil in
yeah.
our field. Um and it's a lot of pressure sometimes, like what you're putting out there and like what you're not putting out there and getting engagement and being regular and I got to the point recently within the last year where I'm like I just don't, not that I don't care,
Yeah.
but I'm just putting out me more than I ever have because like if you don't like it then you don't like it. I'll find the people, you know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah.
you find
Oh yeah.
you're not gonna be everybody's whatever they say,
Yeah.
right? And that's fine. But like you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not true to yourself,
Right.
right?
Right. You've done a lot of modeling, and I want to ask you back in the early
Mhm.
days of your modeling career.
Yes.
I'm sure if there's a young actress or model out there that wants to get into that line of work.
It was a little later in life before I was actually able to pursue my passion.
Mhm.
So, you know what I mean? Like I already had some life experience and
Is there things you would tell a young model to watch for? How about that?
I mean, I would say just be careful. I mean, always like ask other people that have worked with, like check, look at their work, look at their, people that they've worked with before. Like always check with at least one other person, see how they interact with you,
Mhm.
see if you feel any kind of pressure right off the bat in any way.
You have done some prestigious work in your time, in my opinion, and I'm obviously referring to the Playboy stuff.
Hmm.
But before anybody gets too carried away, she is not nude in any of it. We've already made sure that that was completely covered before the interview started. But can you just talk to me or talk to us a little bit about how that like prestigious work
Transpired.
came to fruition?
So like I said, back in 2019, I hit the ground running with acting because that was had always been my main passion. And then a couple years later, somewhere along the way, I don't remember exactly what happened, but someone must have asked me to do a shoe, and then I fell in love with that too because in a way it's also storytelling. It's just a
Yeah.
little different.
Yeah.
And then I think for a good couple years, like acting kind of took like a back seat, and I was just like going with that.
Hardcore
And
modeling. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I remember distinctly there was one spring, um, again like going through something, you know what I mean, at the time, and I had like this epiphany moment where I was like, what's holding me back from just trying things? You know
Right.
what I mean? And I had known of these certain specific photographers out there like in LA and New York and things like that, cuz you find people online and you follow their work and you like it, and I
Then
think
they like yours back.
yes,
Right.
yes.
Right.
And it was like it was, I want to say it was like springtime, like around this time of year, like May or something. I was like, I'm just gonna go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just gonna put myself out there and see who wants to work with me. And Arthur St. John, the photographer who did the photos for Playboy, um, we worked. He was like, yeah, let's work together, and I was like, what? Like it's that you know what I mean?
Right.
Like you just have to. I think I was just so scared for a long time of hearing no. Right? It's really hard to feel rejected, but like that's just part of our industry.
Right.
And I was like, what is the worst thing that can happen
Mm-hmm.
if I ask all these people? You know,
Now, did you go somewhere for that,
I
or did
did.
they come to you?
I did. I went to, well, my best friend lives in LA, so I was going out there quite a bit
Yeah.
already. And we actually did our shoot in Malibu, so it was like a
Oh.
whole 10-day trip. Yeah, that summer.
Did they write an article about you too? I can't remember. If I
Yes.
thought I saw
Yeah,
this.
it
But
was an editorial.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Oh.
asked about a bunch of questions, and it was in Malibu, and it was on this beach, and it was just, his daughter was with him taking like BTS, and it was a very comfortable
Environment.
experience
Yeah.
and environment, and there was nothing weird about it.
It
And
was like another job.
yeah, and at the time it was just like two creatives like working together.
Right.
And it wasn't, and the hopes of, I was thinking, because he works for Maxim and like other magazines as well.
Right.
And then it wasn't until like 6 months later that he hit me up and was like, do you want to get these published? And I was like,
Well, yeah.
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 Sure.
Right.
And then that was that, and yeah, it still kind of feels a little surreal. Because,
Serious question though.
yes.
Do you have a copy of it for yourself, either framed, or do you have a copy of it for yourself somewhere?
I do have a copy, yes, a physical. I have a couple copies.
That is
Yep.
a very big accomplishment. I mean,
you.
again, it's more of the modeling element, but it's the
Mhm.
fact that what a prestigious publication,
Right.
like what you had the ability to do. They did an editorial on you.
Right.
I
it
mean, these are
was-
big things.
It was like a six or eight page
6 or 8 page.
spread. But what I really want to say about it is,
Yeah.
I feel like there's a stigma and like a common misconception that or a misunderstanding that if you're published in the magazine, being a playmate and being published in the magazine are just two completely different things.
Yes.
Um, and I was just published in the magazine,
Right.
and it was kind of like beach attire, and there was no nudity, and
You didn't go to the mansion.
no, oh my goodness, no.
All right.
I mean, that would be an experience for sure, but nope. It was more just like the brand was iconic. I liked what they stood for, freedom and authenticity as like a woman, and being comfortable in your own skin. And so I went for it, and here we are.
Something you've had a lot of success with is
Okay.
branding. Branding your look, branding your name in a sense. And I'm curious how important it is to artists to make a brand for themselves on social media specifically.
Yeah. So, like I said, social media has just become kind of it's one of those things. It's a necessary evil for the any kind of creative fields. Like,
Yeah.
You have to be out there and be stay relevant, and I do think branding is very important for actor, like any actor out there, or creative. It's not everything, but I do think that there are definitely times that I've noticed that, kind of like the more you're out there, the more kind of people keep you in mind sometimes. And when they have something that just they think like they might be like, oh, yeah, I remember seeing Rosanna or whoever, she would be great for this. I
Yeah.
think it does really help facilitate like connecting and networking and things like that. But you also have to protect yourself from all the bad stuff,
Yeah.
parts of social media, and learn to limit yourself. Like I've gotten, sometimes I struggle, but pretty good at limiting myself and knowing not to scroll, like stopping myself and being on there and getting my stuff out there, and giving back to other people and interacting with people. That's part of it too. And
Right.
connecting, but then knowing when to not like doom scroll, because
Oh
that's
yeah.
not healthy.
Yeah. One thing I see, and I'll just sum this one up before I ask you
Okay.
for the last question here,
Hmm.
is I see a lot of actors, mainly actresses, they come and go on social media. So what I mean by that is they'll do a lot of work for a very short period of time, disappear,
Uh-huh.
deactivate their accounts,
Right.
not delete it, but deactivate it, disappear out of the limelight, if that's even what's called,
Hmm.
and then all of a sudden one day they just show back up. So it's important to, in my opinion, as a
Hmm.
director, filmmaker, is to keep the consistency.
Yeah, and I think there's parallels to just, work as an actor as well. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
it's one of those things where it's tough because it can be just like both of them can be discouraging at times because you're putting all this work in, but you may not see, any return until way later. It's just one
Yeah.
of those things where consistency is key, hard work is key. Um, like the starting stop, like I understand maybe for their mental health sometimes they have to take a break and that's how they need to do it.
Yeah.
But I feel like anything that's worth it, it just requires so much work,
Yeah.
hard work and consistency, and you just have to keep going even when you don't see the light,
I feel
and
like,
that's tough
and this leads into
sometimes.
my next question is I feel like
Hmm.
you'd be a good final girl. And what I mean by that, for those that don't know, in horror world land, is the last surviving character of a film. So
That would be fun.
my
Yeah.
question to you is, if Hollywood called you and said, "Hey, we want you, but we want to give you any role that you want to do," what would it be? What genre would you go into?
Ooh, that's tough.
I know you said a lot about comedy. You
Yeah,
really seem to like that.
I mean that's up there for sure, but if I have to confess, like my favorite genre of all time, it's psychological thrillers. I
Okay.
I That's just my favorite genre. So I would love to be in a I don't think that was one of the choices, but
It's okay.
I think there's romantic thriller. I mean, sure, it doesn't have to be romantic though. I really love thrillers, and I think I love comedy and dark comedies
Yeah.
too.
What are you watching right now? Are you watching anything?
I'm actually not, but I can talk about things that I've recently
What was
watched
the
that I
most recent
really,
thing you
really
watched that
liked.
you liked?
It's a lot of like shows.
Of course.
Um, okay, so favorite of all time, and maybe I'm a little unoriginal for this, but I just loved Dexter. Like the original Dexter, like will always have my heart.
Mhm.
I just freaking loved that show,
Now, have you
man. Like it
watched
was
all the
so good.
seasons?
I have.
Even
Yeah.
the spin-off one with the
Even the
younger?
spin-off one that I couldn't stand at first, because I think it's always hard to like watch your favorite show with completely different actors
Right.
in there, but you have to give things a chance sometimes, and I
But he did
warmed
the
up to
voiceover,
it.
didn't he?
He did do the voiceover,
I can't
so
remember the actor's name at the moment, so I apologize. But I thought he did
I
the voiceover.
I hope there's gonna be more. I don't know.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure
'Cause he
that
has a
that's
son now, and
and he's a killer too, isn't he?
his son.
Yeah, didn't his son?
I don't
We
know.
might be
I don't want to
spoiling something
spoil
here.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure,
So
but
so the point is, watch Dexter.
watch Dexter. And then prior to that, I was a late bloomer with the whole series and stuff, but Better Call Saul. Like, I really loved that
Really?
show.
Better Call
Yeah.
Saul.
Like, even a little better than Breaking Bad. I know I'm going to get
Oh, no.
some.
I haven't watched either, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I haven't watched either.
Oh my God, they're so good. I think Better Call Saul spoke to me because I like complex things,
Yeah.
and there was just like so many different timelines. I think there was like three different timelines, and so there was no being bored.
Yeah.
And it kind of tied in things from Breaking Bad, and I don't know. You'll have to watch that.
I will. I will.
Yeah.
Were your parents supportive of your childhood ambitions and adulthood ambitions of becoming an actress
Um.
or modeling? How do they perceive your modeling
How
career?
do I answer this? Yes and no.
Okay.
So my parents are very strict, okay? Like, my mom
Oh, yeah.
came here in her 20s. She's Filipino. My dad's Ukrainian, and they're both very old country people.
Right.
Whatever that means. But I think people who know. And it was, college first. Like, you can't.
And you did
just-
that.
And I did that.
And you got a medical
I-
medical background.
Yeah, so I have a psychology degree, and I have a nursing, and I have a master's in nursing.
So
and
mom and dad, you better be proud.
yeah, and I'm a nurse practitioner. So I think it was important and helpful to they always, one of the main values of old country people is security and pride and making sure you're taking care of yourself and you can function in the world. So I'm grateful for that, but I can't obviously they weren't too keen on like, yeah, let's just go be an actor or go be a creative. That always kind of took a back seat, and I wasn't able, like I said, to really get into it until almost later adulthood, or maybe this is young adulthood, I don't know, middle adulthood, I don't know where we're at
I'm
now,
in middle.
but later in life. So that's good and bad, I think, because you miss some opportunities, but then also you have more life experience to bring to roles and knowledge to bring to
It's
your
funny
work.
how unique that is, because I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandparents always would say to me, there's no money in film, go get a real job.
Right.
And then I got a real job, and then I was able to do what I really love, which is sit here today on a couch and talk to you about all these fun things.
And but we all come from different places and backgrounds, and it doesn't mean you can't be successful. You know what I mean? Just because your journey looks different than somebody else's, or sometimes your disadvantages end up being advantages later. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
All right. Well, it was a pleasure to finally sit down and collaborate on something together.
Yes. I do want to say one thing.
Yeah,
one last thing.
Please say it.
I am proud to be a minority woman in film, and I would love to see and encourage other young minority women to pursue their passions. And I love to think that I'm helping young minority women envision themselves in places that they're passionate about. And that's
I do. You know what? It's good to be somebody that inspires others in a time where we need inspiration the most.
Right.
For somebody to stand up like yourself and inspire the younger generation, it's so very important. So thank you for spending some time with me, and I hope we get to do it again. Good luck with your upcoming film.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for joining us.